Hello guys, and welcome back to my YouTube channel. This is my May monthly wrap up. I'm so excited for this video, honestly, because May was a good month for me. Like y'all know, I started the TikTok TBR, and I'm just gonna go ahead and throw my prompts up right now. These were the prompts that I selected for the month of May. This is my first time doing this setup that Ruby Reads does, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. Let me just say that I read so many books, and I didn't feel like I had to read them out. I read them because I wanted to. So I really liked it, instead of just reading out all the books that I'm gonna read. And I got some really good prompts for next month, so I'm excited about that. But let's just start off. So my very first prompt that I pulled for last month was a standalone, and the very first book that I read this month was Punk 57 by Penelope Douglas. This one had been on my Kindle for a while. I downloaded it a while ago, well before I read Birthday Girl. I downloaded this one, and ever since Birthday Girl, I've been like, y'all, Daddy Pike, he put this Penelope Douglas seed in my head, and I feel like I had to read another Penelope Douglas book. So even though I had a lot of other standalones that I could have read, I read Penelope Douglas, Punk 57, and it was about Ryan, who's a girl, and Mishka. I might be saying it wrong. Don't quote me, but they are basically pen pals. They got set up in like elementary school because they're from neighboring towns to be pen pals, because one's teacher thought she was a boy and the other teacher thought he was a girl. So they set them up, and they had just continued this friendship for a long time. I don't want to do any spoilers, but some type of way he had to end up coming to her town for something, and then he meets her and he's like, this is not what I expected. But long story short, this is like a 4.5 for me. It was a pretty good book. It wasn't as good as Birthday Girl. I'm gonna be honest, I probably should have gave that book 5 stars. Actually, I think I gave Punk 57 4 stars because it was a really good book, but it wasn't my favorite. But like, I don't know, towards the end I was like, so definitely kept that same Penelope Douglas energy. I really liked it. I liked the character development. Sometimes I feel like Ryan was a little bit whiny, but for the most part, pretty good book. The second prompt that I got this year was last month was a Black author. And for that one, when I was on the plane back from vacation, I thought I was gonna read so much on vacation. Didn't happen, okay? Your girl was in the pool the whole time with a tree. But on the plane back, I downloaded 30 Day Boyfriend by Whitney G. And I got the audiobook too. I mainly listened to it. Her books are pretty short, though I probably could have read it faster than I listened to it, but the plane ride was long anyways. And so I loved this book. Let me tell y'all something. This was such a good book, and it actually hyped me up for my Mariana Tabata book. So it was about Nicholas Wolf. He is basically, they call him the Wolf of Wall Street because his name is Nicholas Wolf, and he works in like finance and stuff on Wall Street. And his employee, I think she's his assistant as well, and her name is Millie. Don't quote me, but basically something happens. He's trying to acquire this new company, but the person who he wants to acquire from only wants to sell his company to a family man, because he, is a family owned person. So he wants to make sure his company goes in good hands. And so basically Nicholas has to get engaged. It's like fake dating trope to try to make himself look good for the person so that he can buy their company. Lo and behold, he ends up choosing to fake date his employee. And yes, very good book, 10 out of 10. Loved it. Yeah, it hyped me up for my Mariana Zapata read of the month. I might as well go ahead and throw it in because it's not on my shelf. Not on my TikTok TBR, but I did read Throw All the Winnipeg of Me. Basically the exact same thing except Aaron Graves. Y'all already knew that. Literally exact same subplot, except he's a football player. So love that book. Definitely same Mariana Zapata vibes. 10 out of 10. I'm not even gonna say much about the Wild Winnipeg Me because I feel like that's one of her most popular books, even though it's not even her best book, but it's like definitely blown up all over Instagram, TikTok, and all that. excuse me. Okay, so the next actual book on my TikTok TBR was a classic, and I read Of Mice and Men by John Steinbeck. I'm pretty sure everybody read this book too in high school. It was a required reading for me. What about y'all? But it follows George and Lenny. They go from one town to the next looking for work because something happened in the last town that they were in. I don't want to spoil this, but it's basically like a tale on friendship and the links you have to go, basically. Still made me stop even though I already knew what was gonna happen. Still hate Curly's wife. Like, girl, just, you know, she got the eye. She had the eye. But yes, so I read Of Mice and Men again, and I got a classic again this month. I still don't know what I'm gonna read, y'all. I got a few classics on my shelf, but anyways, conversation for another day. The next book I had on my list I did read was for Oprah Book Club book, and I'm taking this out of my jar because I don't like Oprah Book Club books no more. I've realized that. I've grown. They're boring. I hate to say it like that, especially if y'all like them, but I mean, it's a billion people in the world. Everybody read different things. Y'all, American Dirt by Jenny Cunningham is what I read. It follows the story of Lydia and her young son, Lucas. They were at a big barbecue. Something happens. Basically, her husband is a journalist or publicist, or like he writes big stories and puts them in the paper, and he wrote a big story about the mafia because they are from, I don't want to say Mexico, but they are from a different country, and it's their journey from their country to the U.S., which I think they are from Mexico. But so her husband writes a big story about sorry, I thought something was getting my crops, about this drug lord, or not drug lord, but like a mobby boss. And yeah, they retaliate, and they retaliate pretty bad. And she has to basically escape the country. So with her young son, I didn't enjoy it. I did read the entire book, did find myself skimming, and when I skim, I know I don't like the book. So I did give it 3 stars because, I mean, it wasn't an awful book, don't get me wrong. It's just not my cup of tea. Like, when I go to read a book, I don't think that's what I want to read. I want to read something that's engaging, that keeps me excited to read. And this one was not that at all. This actually made me kind of get into a slump for a while, but that's okay because my next prompt was a book of the month book. As everybody knows, Emily Henry's new book, which I have right here, Book Lovers, came out this month, and so I needed to get through her backlog before I read her new book. So my next 2 prompts is a book of the month book and then an element. I knew I wanted to read Emily Henry books. I actually read Beach Read first, which is my element book, because they actually did go on a date by the water, and they got in the water at the end. But that basically follows the story, and it's her first book of January and Augustus Everett. Y'all, so good. I was thinking I was gonna go into a light beach read. So glad I didn't actually read this on the beach, because I took this to the beach with me. This book had so much more depth. It was crazy. It was like a deeper story. It was some underlying issues, and then I was just like, whoa. You know, it kind of took me back because it wasn't what I was expecting. I was expecting just a cute, fun read. So I think everybody knows the plot of this book too. She's a romance author, believes in real love, and he is like, I want to say not historical fiction, but he does write historical books based on real evidence and things that happened, but it does fiction because he changed the names and stuff, I think. So good. So they go on these 2 separate dates. They agree to write each other book prompt for the month, and then at the end you see who won, and you know, blah blah blah. But it was just a really good book. Loved it. And then I also read for the book of the month book, People We Meet on Vacation, with Alex and Poppy. Poppy was annoying. Everybody read this book too, so I don't need to give y'all a big synopsis. Poppy was annoying to me though. I didn't just love Poppy in this book. They're friends who used to go on vacation every summertime, but then something happened a couple years ago and they haven't been on vacation for a while. So she hits him up to try to get on vacation with him because she has some things going on, and she's like, hey, I just kind of want to figure out where we went wrong. So they go on another vacation. I'm like reading her past vacations, and I'm like, you doing this, but then you mad when he doing this. Like, it just didn't make sense. Probably kind of annoyed me. I didn't love this book as much. I didn't hate it though. Like, a lot of y'all don't like it. I liked it. It was a good book for what it was. She annoyed me a lot. So if I gave Beach Read like 4.5 stars, such a good book. I mean, almost could be a 5-star read for me. That's how much I think about it. I think I gave People We Meet on Vacation maybe 3.5, maybe 4, because it was still a good book. She was just annoying as a character to me because of some things that she did, but it was a good book. Can't explain it. I could get past it. It was just annoying. Okay, next I continue the series, and y'all, Good Girl, Bad Blood. That was so good. I cannot believe I do not own the last book yet, y'all, but it annoys me because it's in hardback, and I want it to match the rest of the books I have that are in paperback. But anyways, so it follows Pip again, and of course Robbie, but Pip now has a podcast about everything that went down in the first book. And while she's doing her podcast and it's blowing up and stuff, her friend comes to her and he's like, hey, my brother is missing. Me and my mom are actually worried because he does disappear sometimes, but this seems different. Could you help us find him? So it's all about the disappearance of Jamie Reynolds. Though it's so good, y'all. I like how they did it. The twist, I'm not gonna lie, to me it wasn't as great as the first book because I truly didn't know how the end of the first book was gonna go. This book I kind of guessed one of the things, but then it was another twist and I was like, what? So it was still a really good book to me. 4.5 stars. Like, dang near Holly Jackson, you can get 5 stars for me. Like, I really like it. Like, I feel like I'm gonna continue to read her. I don't know if this book or if this ends at a trilogy or if this is gonna be a longer series, but I do need to get As Good as Dead, which I think this is just a trilogy, so that may be the last book, and I think I'm gonna have to finish it. But good book. Loved Pip in this second book. The podcast really did it for her. People be hating on Pip in her small town. I can't wait for Pip to move. Next was a book club member's favorite, and I'm glad I got this pick because I asked on my Facebook group, like I told y'all, and Meg, thank you so much, said her favorite was The Flat Share by Beth O'Neill or O'Reilly, can't remember, but it's upstairs. I just didn't want to bring physical copies all the way down just to film, but it was so good. This has been on my TBR literally since I got Goodreads, so I jumped at the chance to read it. I was excited. It gave me a reason to purchase it, just being honest, and I loved it way more than I thought I would. Okay, so basically it's about this girl who breaks up with her boyfriend Tiffany, but she goes by Tiffy in the book. Her and her boyfriend break up, and she basically needs to move out of his apartment that she shares with him. And she doesn't really have a lot of money because of her job. So what she's doing is she tried to get an apartment. Her friends was like, no, this isn't it. So she took up an online ad for a flat share with Leon, who is a hospice nurse at night. Hooked. Let me just tell y'all, hooked. So for circumstances that I'm not gonna say because I kind of feel like it's a spoiler, they can't really talk. So how they start communicating is leaving each other notes. Like, hey, trash is this day, hey, this, blah, blah, blah. Then the notes kind of evolve into a friendship, like, hey, how are you doing? I baked this, I hope you feel better, blah, 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 like stuff like that, and it just gets deep. But not only is that plot good, there's also another subplot going on in the book of Leon trying to help out his patients and like just being a good guy. I really liked the book. Would have given it 5 stars, but the point of view, because it is dual POV, dual POV, Tiffy's POV is written beautifully. Like, I feel like would have got 5 stars if Leon's was written like that. Leon's was written like thoughts or something, and I didn't like it. It was like third person thoughts or something, and I just didn't understand that. But I don't know. That's my only really complaint about the whole book. Other than that, I really love the book. It was really good. Like I said, 4.5 stars. And then the last one was set on a different continent, I do believe. And for that one, I read the Barnes & Noble pick, which was Hostage by Claire McIntosh. Didn't love this one either. I feel bad because I really thought I would. It's about a hostage situation on the plane between this lady named Mina. She's the flight attendant. Why didn't that come to me? But yeah, so basically you can save countless lives, or the one that matters the most. Really can't give you guys too much away about it. I thought I really was gonna like the book until I found out why they took over the plane. Like, and if y'all were for that, girls, I mean, I'm for it, you know. But that seems like dramatic, you know, cause to be fighting this hard for. So it kind of just derailed my interest. The ending was very interesting, though. I will say that I was not expecting the ending to go how it would. So they got 3.5 stars out of me just because it was different than I thought it was going to be. The book kept me intrigued. It was a good book, don't get me wrong. It just wasn't a great book. You win some, you lose some. And then I read 2 other books this month, Midnight Mass and Priest. Not even going to go into them. Forgive me, Father Bill, for I have sinned.
Drinking, 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 drinking. Something about your vibe remind me of the weekend.